a recent Sunday Live with Vince from Twisted Koi, the conversation in the chat room came up to someone commenting about DIY filters, and I noted that my system was exactly the same as they had set up for theirs with 3 barrels, with one minor exception. And I'm going to go through that now because Vince had asked me just to kind of cover that off along with how I clean them, because I did mention that I use air in all 3 chambers for the cleaning. Now the individual, and I do apologize, I don't recall what the channel name was, has his first chamber like I do, which is my barrel here, with filter brushes in it, and then he said he had some Jap matting on top of the filter brushes. Now the way I have mine set up is I do have, and I do apologize for the lighting down here, I have brushes in the barrel here. Instead of Jap matting, I have a piece of Metalla, which is the blue that you can see down there, and then this bag that you see here contains oyster shell, because I was getting some low readings on my carbonate hardness in the pond, and I wanted to help alleviate that by getting some, natural carbonate into there. So I'm using oyster shells. And the way I do my filter cleanings down here, as I said, I've got 3. So this is my brush chamber, static moving bed with K1, K+, and some K3 in there, and then a moving bed over there, and I will show you that in a moment. The way I do the cleaning is I'm going to turn the valve off here, so just bear with me for a second. This is the line here that is feeding from the pump into the first barrel. So I will turn that off. What that does now is that isolates the water from the pump from coming in here, so I'm not getting any sort of dirty water back into the pond. And then the way I have this set up is I have an air stone at the bottom. So I'm going to turn that on now. And you can see the air coming up and the agitation that's going on. I will let this run for 10-15 minutes, somewhere in that range, and that cleans everything very thoroughly, because the feed is coming up from the bottom of the barrel. So the water comes in through this pipe here, goes down to the bottom, comes up through the brushes and the Metalla matting, and then goes through this pipe here into the second chamber, which is static. So right now the filter is effectively shut off, and I'm just going to let this run, as I said, for a few minutes. What I will do is I'll get down now, so if you bear with me, I just kind of hop across here. So that's my static, as I mentioned. I'm just going to come across, and it does take a moment, and I'll show you that reason why. I don't have a lot of space down here in the basement where the pool is, so you can see the gap there is reasonably small to get through. So with that said, that chamber is now being agitated by the air, as you saw a moment ago. Then I will open the valve, and that empties into my sump barrel here, which then gets pumped through this hose sorry, excuse me, into the drain down here in the basement. And what I'm going to do is I will get a container when I get this draining into my sump barrel, so that you can see the water that is coming out of that barrel, just so that you know that the air is actually doing the cleaning. And it really does a good job. It does keep the water itself in the pond quite clean. You can kind of see the fish over here. They haven't been fed yet today. They're doing well. And while that filter is shut down, the water is then coming through here in my shower, as I call it. So all of the water is being pushed through the converted swimming pool filter here with the K+ sinking media in it, and goes up through the shower, so that the filtration is continuing while the other one is cleaning. So I'm going to pause things there for a moment. I'll just let that bubble away, and then I will show you as the water's coming out. And as I say, I will get a jar or a clear container in there, so you can see exactly how much dirt that filter has accumulated through the brushes, as well as the fact that the aeration is doing a great job at cleaning. So I'm going to pause things, and I'll be back with you in a few moments. Alright, if you look at the jar here, and hopefully you can see that under the light, you can see the sediment that is in this jar. This is the water that has come out of that filter. So the air is definitely agitating the brushes and the Metallo matting in there to loosen this up. You can see some's already kind of settled on the bottom of the jar here. So it's doing a wonderful job, and again, the air does an amazing job at cleaning, making it very, very simple for me, which is great. Looking at the water now, you can kind of see into the barrel, hopefully there, the color of the water that is in there. So again, that's what has come out of that filter. So what I'm going to do now is, I will get back up to the filter, close the drain valve, open the other valve to let that tank fill up, and then I'm going to get the static bed next to it, get that one going with the air as well to clean that one. So if you bear with me again for a moment, I'm just going to pause things there while I switch the valves, and I will let you see what's going on in the other tank. Alright, this one is now refilling. I will show you that in a moment once the water gets in there. And you can see I have the valve open. And I've opened the air up on this one now. This was the static bed of the cold nest media. So you can see it bubbling away here. This one I usually let run 15 to 20 minutes. Generally would do it twice. So drain it, fill it, let it run again, and then drain it, fill it again. And then get the filter system kind of up and operational once again. So I'm going to get that going in a moment. You can see this one now is starting to fill back up. And the media itself is, again, I'm sorry about the lighting, not the best down here. The media itself is all nice and clean. So what I will do now that this is full is I turn the valve off once again. That now isolates the flow coming through from this filter to this one, and from this one into the other one, because I don't want to be, introducing sort of dirty debris or anything into the pond, which is over there. So I'm going to pause things again here. I will allow this to run, dump it a couple of times as I mentioned, and then get things up and running. So I will be back with you shortly. Alright, my static bed filter has been bubbling for approximately 20 minutes now. You can see the media is still being very well agitated. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the drain valve and let this water drain out, and then I will do it one more time. So there's the valve down here. I pull that up and I get down and show you. And this is the water that's now coming out of that barrel we were looking at. Container here as well. And you can see that even in there's still a fair bit of finer debris that is being captured through the media. Not quite as much as was in the heavier debris that was in the brushes. This is picking up the finer debris. Just dump that in there. And you can kind of see the water coming in from that filter now. So I will let that filter drain, or that tank, and then I'll fill it up again, do it one more time, and then drain it again, and then get the water running back in for the koi in the pond, get everything back to its normal operating procedures. On that note, as I said, I will just pause things here for a moment, and I will pick you back up shortly once I have everything up and running again. Okay, cleaning of the filters has finished. Again, you can see this is a brush chamber, all nice and clean. My static bed, now the air has been turned off. It is now functioning as a static bed the way it is supposed to. So the water is coming from the pump here. You can see the valve was open there. So the water comes up through the valve into the bottom of the brush filter, comes through this pipe here, into the static bed, which is here, goes down to the bottom of the barrel. Then the water flows upwards through the media into this pipe, which then goes into the moving bed, which is here, and you can kind of see that churning around in there. And then it goes again down to the bottom of the barrel, up through the moving media, through this pipe, then into the pond. And I'm just going to go down and show you that. And I'll just bring this around. And you can see, and that's where the water is coming in from the filters. The pond has also been topped up to accommodate the water that was lost during the filter change. Tower shower is functioning, as you can see. And my routine is that I do a filter clean every 6 days and a water change, which is approximately 10%, give or take, sometimes a little bit less. And so now those filters are done. 6 days from now, what I will do is I will do the pressure filter here, give that a good clean, probably the brush chamber again, just one quick flush of that, just to make sure that everything is up and running for the koi. And on that note, I'm just going to put the camera down here, end the video at this point. I just want to say thank you all for hanging in and watching. If you have any questions about the setup or how I clean the filters, comments are certainly welcome. If you haven't already done so, please hit that like and subscribe button. Your support is very much appreciated, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you have not already done so, hop on over and check out Twisted Koi and his YouTube channel. That's Vince, an amazing channel, lots of fantastic information and videos on there. So give that a check as well. Just tell him Ken sent you, and thank you all for watching. Take care, and as I always like to end things off, stay calm and keep koi.